Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Harakakadash. I want to see apostles and elders of great most on the real world, and Shalom to the brothers who know necessary truth. Uh, yeah, got this article here on study finds, which is interesting, because essentially this whole situation we've had with the lockdowns and the C-19 has more or less just been given a lot of intel to these elites, man, about how to get compliance from the people. Because as you've seen, like all the all the decisions that have been made, essentially along the way of this, of these lockdowns, of like them opening things up and having to get your shots and whatnot, wearing masks, all these different things. They've been keeping an eye, been doing polls, been researching about who, how people respond to things, and like what things get accepted, what things get resisted, and resisted by who. So the title is what C Lockdown has was a live social experiment revealing how women and men behave during pandemics. And it was, because even from the jump, it was funny watching, because like talking to men, especially from the start, it was like men were just like, nah, this BS, and we're just laughing it off. But then over time, into like the first 3-4 months, over time, a lot of them kind of they got worn down. And like a lot of the women I talked to, they were just like, just why didn't they lock it down? When it was starting, I was just like, yeah, you just need to lock the thing down. It's like, why are you letting people out? Blah blah blah. And then as well, I remember there was one East Indian guy I spoke to. He was just like, yeah, it's like, I don't know what the big deal is. It's just like, people go in hospital, they die, like it's no big deal. Back in India, it's just like, I was like, bruv, same thing. It's just, here, everyone's been fed the lie that they're, gonna be young, beautiful, and invincible forever. But that's just a lie. Vienna, Austria. Did the first C lockdown turn into one giant reality show? Scientists in Austria said C quarantine allowed them to conduct a live social experiment, revealing how men and women behave very differently during a pandemic. In a crisis, the study finds women tend to make significantly longer phone calls and follow government measures more closely than men. Yeah, so women are the ones that are riding out for whatever the government says. And it's funny as well, because like more or less all of the women I know, they're not even fans of the current Tory government, man. The not Republicans, what we got, the conservative government over here. They are not fans of in the slightest. All of them voted Labour. All of them are like, oh, we don't like. They all hate Boris Johnson. But then they hate all what's his name, Dominic Raab. What's the guy that was going to fucking up to 8 thingy vid? Dominic Cummings as well. All these guys in the UK. What do you call it? All these UK right wing politicians. They're talking about how much they hate them when the elections were going on. But now it's like, there's a danger, there's a crisis. They're all just they were down as fuck. They were just like, look, it's just like what it says in Isaiah 4:1. It says, we'll make our own bread, and and sew our own clothes, but just let us be called by thy name. They're like, please just give us safety. Please protect us. That's the only thing that mattered, man. So it says, moreover, Men are less likely to accept restrictions in their movement due to lockdown measures and tend to return to normal more quickly than men. Yeah, because he's even like with masks, especially with going out to exercise, with going for walks and just being outdoors in general. Most guys will, you see in video clips are just like guys out, just like, look, man. It's like, yeah, I'm on my trip, man. What the fuck? But then it was, that resistance. A lot of women that didn't even leave the house, man. There was hella women I was talking to. I was like, bro, I had to leave the house on the regular. They were just like, yeah, I've not even been outside in this much. I've not even been around this many people. I'm like, bro, you guys are actually sitting there just indoors watching the news where they're like, oh, X amount of hospitalizations, XYZ, getting your brain fried, by information you don't even understand, and just being shepherded into a certain mindset, man. Says what? Moreover, men are less likely to accept restrictions in their movement due to lockdown measures and tend to return to normal more quickly than women. Yeah. Women I still know. There's women that got their shots, so they're, as far as they're concerned, they're meant to be safe. They're meant to now be what do you call it? No longer at risk. But then they'll still wear their mask everywhere. They're still just like, if someone's near them, they're just like, stay away. Like they're still just completely in the mindset of, I've been what do you call it? Like I'll never be safe until the government says so. And that's the funny thing. Even when the government says, yeah, now it's cool, we can open things up, they're like, no. So experts at the Complexity Science Hub Vienna say the cliche behavioural patterns cropped up during the first lockdowns back in spring. Using data from the first lockdown, the research evaluated mobile phone data from 1.2 million Austrians between February and June of last year. The total shutdown of public life was like a population-wide live experiment. Yeah. So these things, like, that's why it's like, and it's funny because data is being grabbed off you from every source, especially if you got a smartphone. It's like every site you go to, since they added the law, I think in the EU, where you have to basically accept that they're like, if they're trying to take any of your information, since they changed, Jesus, since they changed that, like now more or less every site you go on, they'll say, oh, do you want us to be able to see your information about blah blah blah, and it's like, bro, every site is tracking. So all these things, all these different data points, these things are being utilized. To observe people's social mobility behavior. We were, anonymous mobile data from a major internet provider, ISP. So I said, we were interested in the extent at which people supported the anti-C measures imposed by the government. When we analysed the data by gender, we found strong behavioural differences between men and women. Yeah. So between men and women, that's how they deal with things in general differently, but especially crises. Because legit, it's like a crisis is gonna be it's funny as hell. Yeah, now in a crisis, that's when you're gonna see the differences highlighted even more, because it's basically just turning up, people's reaction, like how far they're gonna lean into like their true response to the max. Because that's why it's like, and the thing is as well, is it's really the women that be getting men on moving certain ways. So, is that one more? Nah, that was it. But it's like, yeah, a lot of the men. Yeah, a lot of the men as well. They'll basically have to start to comply with certain things just because their their woman will will kick up a fuss. And that's really what goes down. A lot of women will kick up a fuss or just war down their boyfriends and husbands over time. Because there's hella people you talk to where, like, at the start they were just like da da da. Even like one guy from shop nearby, corner shop nearby, he was like, during the start he was like, yeah, it's all bullshit, blah blah blah. These guys are just pushing these things. They're all making money off this, blah blah. Then his wife got sick, and he's just like, yeah. Since then he's just taking it way more serious. He's like, yeah, this is, you know. He switched his tune. So it's like, that's how it is for a lot of guys. It's like either they get sick or, and then just be like, oh shit. It's like, yeah, you know, just gotta comply with everything. And that, you know, the woman as well is got that, especially in this society. Like men, they've got the power over the men to manipulate them into certain what do you call it? Responding in certain ways. So that's hella being utilized, man. Let me read this. 1 Timothy 2 and 13. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. Yeah. Adam was formed first, and what? It was Eve. It was through the woman. That's how Adam got, man. The woman first got deceived, and then she had the inroad with Adam to get him, you know, to to go off as well. And that's how things go with a lot of things, man. A lot of guys will get into all forms of madness for women, which is the other scripture I was going to get as well. 1 Ezra 4 and 25. Wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father and mother. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sake. Yeah. A lot of men will be like, they'll just be super into their women. They've been with them for a while. They'll just be like, yo, just complying. And then when situations like, you know, like they getting these shots, and the charagma as well, because it's gonna be the same for the mark. They're gonna be like, hey, look, you know, you need the capability to do X, Y, Z within society. Like, you're really gonna be able to do that. You got to worry about me. You got to worry about you know, your kids, your family, whatever. And just say, yo, and just wear men down to where they'll just do it. And that's how a lot of guys are. Because like, a lot of guys on the net, they might be like, oh, you know, I had my reservations, but it was just, you know, my woman said X, Y, Z, so then they just got down with it. And it's peak. Just really be how it is. It says many also have perished and have erred and sinned for women. Yeah, straight. Because getting that getting your shots and getting that charagma, that's a colossal sin, man. And that's really like, you're basically just surrendering all, surrendering all to what do you call it, man? To Esau, giving him ultimate power to just do as he do it. Essentially, just saying you're gonna do whatever he decides, man. And Esau knows these things as well, because these are gonna be things that are being looked into, being researched. That's what Esau does. It says, what wiser than Daniel, man? There's nothing that can be hid from him. But yeah, yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom.